Go, go. Okay, I believe that we are live at this point. I'm David, sometimes known online as iShotJR. I am the community editor at Make Magazine, and while I have your attention, I just want to do a quick plug. Make Magazine Volume 88 is our 3D printing and digital fabrication issue. It's on newsstands now and available from makershed.com. My guests today are Lee and Sid from the Open Source Hardware Association's Open Hardware Summit team. A lot of words there. And Make is a visionary sponsor of this event. And we're going to talk about what this event is and all of the things that make it rad. And so, Lee and Sid, can you tell us who you are and a little bit about the organization and this year's event?
Yeah,
I'm Sid May. I'm the community manager and Summit Fellowship Chair. And then go ahead.
and I'm Lee. I am the Summit Chair for the Open Hardware Summit.
Awesome. And so, I mean, what is Aswa? I don't know. I've never heard of it. What is it?
Aswa is the Open Source Hardware Association, and our goal is to basically help people learn about open source hardware. And also we run our primary mission throughout the years running a certification program to help you certify your things that you make as open source hardware. And our annual event every year is the Open Hardware Summit. So it's an event that has been around the world for the last few years. It's been either virtually or in New York. And this year it's going to be in Montreal, Canada.
Awesome. And real quick, we should keep saying this over and over again, but when are the dates?
May 3rd and 4th in Montreal.
Okay, I just wanted to remember to make sure, like, we need to keep plugging the dates because every time I look at that, I'm like, it's in May, and then I'm like, wait a second, it's less than a month away. So starting to get serious. But yes,
yeah.
I had the opportunity. I think I've attended the past several years, but in the previous years during the pandemic, it was all virtual. But last year was the first time that it resumed physical status, correct?
Yeah, it was the first year that we were able to gather in person since the pandemic started. So it was awesome. It was really like so amazing to see so many people from our community who we interact with online, like all in person, and to just be able to like discuss things and interact. It was so much fun.
It was absolutely. Was that the first time we met in person? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I think it
Yeah.
was.
Okay. Awesome. And definitely Sid as well, the first time we
Yeah.
met. So the thing that I'm excited to dive into, honestly, is all the fun we had last year because it was one of my favorite events by far. But real quick, do you have some highlights from this year's event just to get people a bit excited about what's on offer?
Yeah, for sure. So just kind of like an overview rundown of like what the event is going to be like this year. We have 2 days, and the first day is at Concordia University, and it's going to be talks, and it's also going to be all kinds of like sponsors, presenters, people like sharing their projects with at tables. And then day two is all workshops and unconference. So unconference is when we have no schedule. We all just show up with our cool ideas and just pitch what we want to talk about, and we break out into discussion groups. So the schedule for day two is a little bit unknown, but that's the exciting part. And then there's also 2 full tracks of workshops. So
And the workshops are require sign up outside of your main ticket, correct? Are those
yeah,
available to sign up for now?
yeah,
Yep.
there's
All
a
the
whole bunch
links
of
are up.
workshops now. Yeah, go for it, Sid.
And also, actually, we've already had quite a few sell out, so it's actually a really good time to make sure you're getting your signups in because
Okay.
there's some really cool stuff this year. We've really found some incredible workshops. I mean, the community always has great ideas, and this year is no different. We got some really interesting stuff happening.
What are
We're
your top
really
picks, Sid?
Oh God, I'm actually really excited about one of the Summit Fellows, actually, Yulia Tomasello, is doing a workshop called Otrapel, which is going to be utilizing biotextiles to create harnesses and explore soft electronics and looking at like different ways that you can make something customized to yourself and your own desires is going to be really cool. And then I'm also really excited about Becky Button and Jason Garwood's DIY music pedal workshop. I just really like when machines make noises.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I am really excited about another one of our fellows who's co-presenting a workshop on making interactive murals. So Alicia Bustos and Leah Buckley and Naniba Kachan. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that properly. I'm sorry. But I'm really excited about their workshop about making interactive murals. I saw them present at another conference earlier this year, and I was just immediately, I was like, you guys need to come to the summit. People need to do this like hands-on and not just hear about it. So it's going to be really awesome.
Which that one is
Awesome.
actually one of the ones that's already sold out. It was
Oh,
popular.
yes. That's so good.
I'm not sure
And
if it'll be the same this year, but last year, even if things sold out, it was people could still sort of like hover around the peripheries and experience a little bit about it. So hopefully, if
Yeah,
that does appeal to people, they can still kind of check it out a little bit.
there'll definitely be like
yeah, for
some
sure.
room for some hovering, and some of the workshop runners have found some space to have a wait list or um, have the potential for same day sign up. Mostly the additional fees that come with some of these workshops are that like a lot of these workshops have a lot of fabrication or materials that we're just trying to make sure that our workshop runners are, going broke trying to run something cool for
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah, I came home with a ton of great hardware last year. I know there was the little hacking cat kit was one of
Oh
the
yeah.
awesome ones, which I believe is back this year. I built Joey's ebook, like I built an entire ebook. It was pretty cool.
Yes.
I wasn't in the bubble punk dinosaur thing. I wasn't in that one, but I saw lots of people running around with that one. And the antennas workshop was awesome. The
Oh yeah.
Bluetooth antennas. There was a lot of awesome hardware last year, and also potatoes. I remember
Oh
hacking a
yeah.
potato, which I don't think I brought the potato back with.
I don't know
Well,
if that
we're
would have
always,
traveled well.
oh yeah, exactly. We're always trying to like keep it, like keep like the unique perspectives of our participants here, right? Like there's a lot of places you go online to learn like, like basic electronics or whatever. We want to really showcase like the unique talents of people who are here and like do stuff that like is really hard to explain online. You really like need to be in person and like need to be hands-on. So I'm super excited about that.
And so last year there was the talks and there was the workshops. We talked a lot about workshops. I'm already very excited and have a bunch that I want to sign up for if they haven't sold out yet. Tell me about some of the talks.
I mean, first off, our keynote, Danielle Boyer, is just incredible. Her work is so cool, has been in a Make magazine, and she's been doing a lot of really cool work for the last little while, just spreading awareness around her SCOBOTs, which
Oh
are
Absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
her Indigenous language revitalization robots, which is so cool. And she's our keynote this year. We're really excited about that. Which, as part of that, we've actually made it that Indigenous folks have completely free access to the conference this year. It just didn't feel right to keep Danielle's talk and any aspect of the conference locked down by just a financial barrier when, like, this is part of Indigenous culture. Spreading this knowledge is really important. So that is one of the things we're really proud to offer this year, of having free Indigenous attendance, which is just a ticket option on our Eventbrite too. Like, you don't have to email us. You don't have to prove to us that you're Indigenous. We don't like, that is not important to us. It's just an option where you just select it and you're good.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And
I
like
wasn't aware of that. That's so cool.
And also like on that similar note, if anyone, you the viewer, are considering emailing us about needing a low income ticket or another ticket price, just take the ticket that's good for you, like we're not here to like to have people justify why we just want people to be at the event and to be excited about things. So just like sign up for the ticket that makes sense and we're excited to see you.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And another thing that made it one of my favorite events last year was I I feel like you do a really incredibly, like, I can't even think of anyone that even comes close to doing such an amazing job of making it so inclusive of an event. I just remember, you know, at workshops and stuff, looking around at other people at the table and just being like so impressed and honestly like wanting to know kind of like what your secrets or what your approaches are, that you've managed to pull that off so spectacularly.
Well, I won't lie to you. My technique is to send a million messages to every person I can think of.
Yeah, we
So,
do a lot
yeah.
of like personal reaching out and making
Mhm.
sure that people know that like we want them to be at this event. I think that's
So,
actually like a huge, honestly, number one piece of advice for anyone trying to figure out how to have more people of various backgrounds at their event is like make sure they know that they're wanted there, make sure that they
Mhm.
know that they have space there, and make sure that they know that you're going to support them if something gets weird.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because we have
Yeah.
a very clear policy around safety for just the event for everybody. So
Mhm.
I think that's the main thing that people need to remember when they're running these events and any event really,
that's
making sure
great.
that people know they're wanted.
So there is
Yeah.
no secret, there's no one weird trick. It's just do the obvious right thing and work hard at it.
Yeah, I mean like I'll just like I'll like go through all like the cool makers I follow on Instagram and I'll just toss them a message and just like the other day at a cafe I was like hanging out and I saw some people and they said the word open source and I
Mhm.
was like oh, and I like walked over to them and I was like come to the summit. So, just like always just trying to like have a lookout for people who might be interested, might be curious and like I think the communities that are going that feel automatically like they belong, they're going to come. We want them there too. We want everyone who's like a veteran of the space. We want absolutely everyone to attend the event, but like putting that special effort on people who like might not feel like they belong. It's the way to go.
Uh, that's amazing and I'm sure appreciated because it was the outcome of that was extremely clear, which is not something that happens automatically by any means. And even like I said, I can't think of another event that even came close to the level
It's really nice
that
to hear. It
um,
warms my heart.
yeah. So speaking of sort of intentional efforts, you mentioned a couple times that some of the speakers or workshop holders were fellows of Aswa. Can you tell us a little bit about that program, what that means?
Yeah, so we have a Summit Fellowship, previously known as the Ada Lovelace Fellowship. We just realized that there's about 20,000 Ada Lovelace Fellowships in the world. So we wanted to just have like a little bit more of a clear idea of what it was and what it was for. And basically, we take on 10 fellows every summit season. And for the weeks leading up to the event, we do mentor talks where we have previous fellows and other members of our community and on our board come and just talk about their experiences working in open source or what their work does and how it relates to open source, and just kind of giving like a really good overview of all the ways that you can be involved in openness without necessarily only doing tech or only doing art or whatever version of open source you interact with. Just to give people like a really good overview of like open source is a lot of things and hardware can look a lot of different ways. And then we also are able to provide travel stipend as well. This year we secured a grant that let us also provide a professional development stipend. So that means that we're more likely to get our fellows at the summit. So occasionally we do have situations where we have international fellows that it can be difficult for them to get to wherever the summit is. So we try and make sure that they have some money to get there. And then on top of that, this year, we're also able to offer the ability to utilize the professional development fund however makes sense for them, whether that means signing up for different classes, signing up for programs they need to use, buying different hardware, software that they need. And then on top of all this, when we're at the summit, we try and make sure that our summit fellows are getting like a really strong experience. We make sure that they have access. We cover 2 workshops for them, as well as making sure that like we just introduce them to people a lot. Because you know it's fun to know people, and then yeah, it's been a really fun program. We're seeing a lot of our fellows actually cycle through, come back, propose talks the same year as they're being a fellow. So it's really fun to be able to like have them be a part of the summit more intensely and be part of the community in that way, because the fellowship is specifically for folks that we don't often see in tech and hardware spaces. Um, and that is like a completely self-identified thing. We don't like, again, we're not people that are like looking for your receipts. Like if you tell us you want access, then we're more than
Then
willing
you
to
got
give
it.
you access.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really fun program. We're seeing a lot of really fun stuff coming out of it. I think this year we have 2 fellows that are doing workshops. So Yulia Temelisel and Alicia Bustos are both doing workshops. And then in last year we had Alexandra Corvo, who she was a fellow in 2022, and then came back in 2023 to do a talk. And then same year we had Aisha Iftikhar Wilson, who was a fellow and a speaker in 2023. So it's been really fun. We're seeing a lot of folks like cycle back through and get involved in different ways.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember last year. I mean, first of all, there was the talks and the workshops, and obviously you could connect with people then. And honestly, at workshops, a lot of the time you're kind of doing hands-on stuff, and you get to know the person next to you. And so I got to know a lot of the people that you just mentioned, just because they were next to me and I needed to borrow their soldering iron and stuff. But I also remember last year there was a sort of mixer event. Was that for fellows specifically? Because that was one of the coolest things, was getting to know, I think it was a sort of academic thing. And I don't know if that was, if the academic and the fellow group overlapped entirely, but a lot of the people that you mentioned were there. And so it reminded me, are there other kind of peripheral events around outside of just the 2 main days that we want to let
Totally.
people know about?
Yeah.
We've
So
got
we,
virtual events.
yeah, we recognize, like it's it's a lot to travel to a place that maybe you've never been. And like we want to give people an experience of like a few days. It's like really, especially when we were planning, we were like, okay, this can't be a 1 day event if we're expecting people to like come from out of the country or out of the continent from like really, really far. So we try to pack as much as we can in there. On Thursday night, so before the event, Helen Lee from Crowd Supply is hosting a hardware happy hour at Radio Snack. So all the details are just on the event page. And so that is basically just like an event for people who, if you're like Thursday night, you're just, you arrived a little bit early to the conference and you just want to get to know the people who are around, you can bring something that you're working on, and it's like very, very casual. There's going to be snacks, there's going to be drinks, and just like hang out with everyone and chat. And then on Sunday, we are going to have an event at a local space called Cyber Love Hotel, and it's like a really cool space for all kinds of people to make things, but they're hosting a zine workshop. So we're gonna have a workshop before before the summit where people can design zines, and then Cyber Love is going to print all of them about like all of your favorite cool tech topics. If there's like a little bite-sized piece of information you wanna share, you'll be able to just like hang out with people and like share things on the Sunday after the summit.
That's
um yeah.
I remember last
And
year I learned how to fold a zine in a special way where you could make it out of you just cut a slit a certain way and then fold it. Or at least I think
I
I
literally have
was
one
trying
right
to keep
here.
that. Yes.
Yes.
There it
Yeah,
is. That's
yeah,
it. Yes.
The
Yeah.
fancy little fold. People always think it's a magical fold. I love it. You
It's
just
a magical fold. Yeah.
Well, now I've relearned it. That was perfect. Yeah, the hardware happy hour last year was great because it was just like everyone just kind of got there. You mentioned you could bring a project, but you don't have to bring a project. You can just hang out. Like
Yeah.
I think last year, there was kind of half a dozen people that brought projects and like a couple dozen that just hang out and ate snacks and got to know people. And it was just a really fun kind of casual. Again, like we mentioned earlier, meeting people for the first time in a lot of cases in real life, and just hanging out in a cool space and checking out some cool projects and things like that. So I
Yeah.
definitely recommend the Hardware Happy Hour just to
And just
kick
like
things
so
off.
many of these events are just like a time, like unstructured time for like really getting to know people, right? Like sometimes you don't always, you're like running from workshop to workshop and you don't have time to like chat. After Saturday, after all the workshops and everything, our Saturday venue is at a really cool local, we're trying to involve as many local spaces as possible. So it's at a really cool maker space called the Space Maker, and they are kind of like, we're hoping to just transition the event into like a casual, low key, like outdoor, like Montreal. Well, it's either very beautiful or very horrible outside, and I think it's going to be very beautiful. So we're hoping to just like, again, like just some like snacks and hang out at the makerspace after all of the workshops close down on Saturday. So we're just kind of just keep the social going, a lot of opportunities to engage in like structured and unstructured time with everyone at the event.
I love it. Yeah, I remember last year, the kind of after party was at Resistor NYC, I think, and that was a lot of fun. That was a really crazy, great time. Lot of people crammed into a little maker
Oh
space.
yeah.
I mean, it's a big maker space, but there was a heck of a lot of people, and there was even like a dance floor and stuff. And again, it was a really great chance to connect with even more people because not everyone was there at the Hardware Happy Hour, but like everyone was there at the after party. Even like I know Massimo Banzi showed up, and he wasn't even at the main event, but he was like in town, and he hung out with him a bunch, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. So I'm sure this one will be great too. Um, so I've been trying to like hold off kind of diving into some of the stuff from last year just because I had
Mhm.
such a great time last year that I didn't want to like fill up the whole conversation with just like reminiscing because we can do that when we're there. Um, but yeah, I know I've touched on it a couple times, but last year's event was just really incredible for me. I thought the keynote was incredible. I focused on workshops, honestly, because the talks that were overlapping there, like it was really hard to choose between which one you wanted to do. But I know the talks at least are all available online. Is that
Mhm.
true? Um,
Yeah. Yeah, we're
so
doing our best to like make the event as hybrid as possible. So we the day one is all talks. So all the talks will be recorded, all the talks will be live streamed. We even have a handful of talks that are only virtual. There's like three or four of them that are only virtual talks. And then for day two for the unconference, we're gonna have like kind of like a parallel unconference track that's like just online. So if you have a discussion that you want to have, we're gonna set up our Discord so that we have breakout rooms and people can propose discussions. So like while it would be pretty impossible for us to like meaningfully make a discussion fully hybrid. So we're just gonna have like kind of two tracks and give everyone the opportunity to participate in some cool discussions because we tried last year. We had like one discussion, like one unconference session. We were supposed to have two, but everyone was so stoked about talking to each other that we like couldn't even make two sessions happen. So this time we're just gonna build in a whole day. You could get all of your ideas out.
We
so
also
last
try to remove the struggle of choice by having talks on one day, workshops on the next day.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, that was very stressful for me because I always want to do everything and experience everything. And there's such a high concentration of like awesome people that I was like, how do I choose between, going to hear Dr. Barry's talk about helping kids build robots in Detroit versus like, I want to blow bubbles. Like,
An
I can't remember what
impossible
the
choice.
actual choices were, but it was stuff like that. And I'm like,
It's
I want to do
hard.
both. Um, and so last year I remember workshops and talks and also the sort of general table area I would call that. What do you call that and what can people find there?
Yeah. Tables. We call it
Tables.
tables.
Okay, I got it.
We call it tables.
I didn't
In
know if
my
there's like a step
brain,
here.
I call it the world's coolest science fair,
Oh
but
yeah.
Great
but
description.
we have some really cool stuff happening in the tables area this year. Like I'm really excited about we've got I mean Joey Castillo is going to be there with oddly specific objects. We've got
Brilliant.
Sean Martel who is both a previous fellow and a previous speaker who will be tabling with their Tech Medic DIY computer care zine that they just made this year, which is a really fun resource, really well made, really cool to explore. We've got Haneen Elmir is doing a interactive metro map embroidery situation that is very neat. And then what is another really cool one is Tris Mendua is doing has a table around Afro-futurist wearable devices for speculative PTSD treatment in Kenya. So there's a lot of really interesting approaches people are taking to open source and like creating these various technologies that are just going to be really fun to explore. And then on top of that, we'll also have a handful of sponsor tables. We got some really cool sponsors this year that are going to be there representing. And then we tend to try and have a couple empty tables just in case someone feels like plopping down a project and talking about it, because we know that that's a thing.
Yeah, one thing I'm really excited about is a local arts organization, SAT, Société Les Arts Technologiques, and they do really cool open source interactive art stuff, and they are bringing a haptic floor. And I don't really know what that means, but I am very excited about it. And they have like a very cool venue in Montreal where they have like a dome that you can like do artist residencies in, and you can like project things on, and they have like a very very interesting setup. So they're going to be talking to folks and like just trying to like, you know, they love to support and be involved with all kinds of open source projects. So they're
I've
a really
seen that
cool venue.
dome. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. I think there's like an interactive element of it where you can sort of just like draw on it with LEDs or something. I think I've seen that.
They have all kinds of stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
Like they have a residency program that runs a couple times a year, and it has financial support and technical support, and like you get to make a cool piece of art in the dome. I don't know. I love the dome.
Um, I haven't been paying
Big
attention to the
fans of
comments, but
domes.
I'm checking back on the comments, and someone asks, "What's this event with awesome maker folks?" Which is a great question because hopefully that's what we're here to explain. So
Mhm.
if you are just joining, this event with awesome maker folks is the Open Hardware Summit. It takes place May 3rd and 4th at Concordia University, and I'm gonna struggle with these French pronunciations this whole time. L'Espace Maker
That,
in
that was
You got
Montreal. Is
pretty
that
it.
good? Is that
Yeah,
good?
you got it.
And Lee and Sid are on the committee that is putting it on, and so if you are just joining us, you might want to rewind and listen again. But that's exactly what we've been talking about is the Open Harbor Summit and all the things that we're excited about this year and all the great time that we had last year that is fueling that excitement. And yeah, what else haven't we covered? I guess I want to hear more about the locations. I remember last year it was all contained in NYU, and now you're splitting up into the two locations that I mentioned. Can you tell me a little bit more about kind of
Yeah, for sure.
that?
So we, you know, one thing like we've talked about extensively, we're trying to include all kinds of people. So this is really reflected in our two venues this year, which are profoundly different in a really awesome, exciting way. So Concordia University is it's a local university. It's really awesome. They have a really great art engineering department. So like a huge like open source community that's like just really super excited about the things that we're doing here. And then day two is at a makerspace, like very different vibe, extremely DIY, super cool space that is called the Spaz Maker. And they have there will be tours showing off how amazing the space is, but they really, really, really like utilize the space to its fullest. It's in Hochelaga, so it's a little bit outside the downtown core, but it allows them to have I don't know how many thousands of square feet. They have thousands of square feet of amazing workshops, and they do a ton of different community events. So everything from like hosting parties to having like a DIY bike shop to doing like, you know, your typical maker like woodworking, 3D printing, all kinds of things. So they're really like a community hub in Montreal for making. So yeah, between those two different venues, we're really hoping to get very different perspectives and all kinds of different people out at the event.
Fantastic. So our goal was to go for about half an hour. We are at the half hour mark now. Just to kind of recap everything for people who want to attend. It's May 3rd and 4th in Montreal, Canada. You can find out all the information you need at 2024.oshawa.org, 2024.oshwa.org. Anything else that we want to share about how to get there, why to go, how strong the US dollar is against the Canadian dollar?
I mean, that's an important thing for you
Yeah.
Americans.
Mhm.
Canadian dollar is trash.
Yeah.
You're gonna save so much money
And just like,
compared to
I don't
going to
know,
New York.
Montreal like is a great city. It's like there's so much going on. There's so much cool art and tech happening. And it's also one of our factors in choosing Montreal was that it's a very affordable city. So yeah, we, you know, like as much as we love New York,
Yeah.
I love to go to New York. It's just yeah, we're just like looking for a place that like maybe other people, especially like a Canadian open source community, right? Like it's just an opportunity for us all to gather. And if there's any barrier to attending, we have volunteer positions, we have discount tickets, we'll work with you. If you're excited by the words that we're saying, we're gonna find a way to get you there.
I love it. I'm definitely excited by the words that you're saying. So 2024.oshwa.org, you can get your tickets, you can get all the information about where to stay. It should have pretty much everything. And from there, obviously, you can find the socials and all the other and the workshop signups and all the other information that you need. And I think we kind of nailed it. We'll see you all in Montreal, hopefully. Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
See you in Montreal.
Thanks, guys.